Hey everybody, Lane here with PreachingDonkey.com. I just wanted to drop a quick video and give you some best practices for how to be a guest speaker at someone else's church. I was a guest speaker today at a friend of mine who was a pastor in the area that was going to be out of town, and he reached out and said, "Hey Lane, would you be willing to speak for me?" And I said, "Sure, absolutely, I'll do it." And I had a good experience at his church preaching in his context. And while I was doing that, I thought through what are the best practices for how to be a great guest speaker at someone else's church. I want to give you just about 4 or 5 things that are really important to understand. The first thing is you always want to get the expectations ahead of time from the inviting pastor. So the expectations I'm talking about are, how much time do I have? Who's going to do the slides? Are you going to make them, or are they going to do it? What time do you need to be there? What are the things that you need to provide in terms of materials versus what are they going to provide? The expectations on you when you're supposed to be there, don't leave anything to guess. I mean, make sure that you have thought through asking every single detail. So in this case, me and this guy, Josh, we went and had lunch. I asked every question. How much time do I have? When do I need to be there? Who do I talk to? When do I need to have my notes to you? How extensive do my notes need to be? Are they going to put together the slides, or am I? Every single thing you can think of. You don't want anything to be left to your imagination. You want to do a good job, and you want to make sure that you are satisfying the needs of the church and of your inviting pastor. So you want to make sure you think through all of that. The second thing that I would say is you want to really ask about the content and the people, okay? So in this case, the pastor was going through a series on James, and so he just told me, hey, continue in James 2, 14 to 24-ish, and so that's what I did. And so we talked about what he's been doing in the book of James and how he's been walking through that and what it's looked like. And so that was really important for me to hear from him what angle he's taking and how his people are receiving it, and what are his, like, kind of, he always does this, and what are his, he never does that. So it was really important for me to get that from him, because I don't want to contradict him. I'm not talking about doctrinal issues. I'm not going to compromise my doctrine or my theology. I'm talking about, I want to make sure that the nature of what he's teaching, the way he's going through the book, the approach that he's taking, I want to be consistent with that, because I want to support him, and I want to make sure that I'm bolstering and adding to what he's doing and not taking anything away. So understanding the content and also the people. So I'm asking questions like, tell me about your people, tell me about your church, what spiritual condition are they in? Do you preach mainly to equip the church, or do you preach to people who are unbelievers, or do you do both? Kind of what is the philosophy of that church? I mean, you can always ask to do it differently, and you can always say, well, philosophically, I'm more over here. Would you be okay if I spoke more to these people in this way? That's totally fine, but ask the question and get the expectation in front of you. So once you have your expectations clear, once you know what the content is and the people, the next thing you want to do is, when you get there, you want to know who to talk to, right? So if the inviting pastor is there and he's the point of contact, great. If it's not him, make sure you know exactly who it is, what time you need to be there. And then always, this is number 3, always compliment the inviting pastor. So when you get up to preach, don't just jump into your sermon, but spend just a brief amount of time. It doesn't even have to be 2 minutes. It doesn't even have to be a minute. Just enough to say, hey, I love your pastor. He's a good friend of mine. I think a lot of him. He's awesome. Because the church really needs to be able to hear from someone else who's not connected to the church that their pastor has impacted you in some way, because he probably doesn't hear a lot of that from them. I mean, who knows what the situation is? Could be healthy, could be unhealthy, but it's always, always, always good practice to just say something. I mean, if he's a friend of yours, if you respect the church and what they've done, compliment them, compliment the pastor. It just builds ethos with you, because the crowd doesn't know you from anybody. And so when you get up there, if you can begin to build some trust with them, it can go a long way. And then the last thing I would say is, find a way to build ethos beyond just complimenting the pastor. Introduce yourself a little bit. If you have a family, talk about your family. If you have kids, show pictures of your kids. Do anything you can in those first few minutes to humanize yourself to that audience. Tell a story, tell a personal story, tell a funny story that will introduce you to them in a lighthearted way so that they can begin to say, okay, I trust this person. They don't take themselves too seriously. It's a real person. They have a family, this and that. That will go a long way to getting the audience to look at you as, okay, I'm willing to trust this person and go along with what they're saying, considering that I just met them right now. And so those are the things. Get the expectations up front of where you're supposed to be, when, how much time. The second thing is the content and the people, very important. Number 3, compliment the pastor. Very, very important. And then finally, number 4, make sure that you do a little bit of ethos building, some trust building, so that you're not just cold walking up on stage like a drone that was dropped in to speak to people who have no idea where you're coming from, don't know you, don't like you, don't trust you until you give them a reason to. And then as a bonus, here's a bonus, because you're always going to hear this from me, but it's just an important thing. Stay on time. Okay, if they allot you time, they say you got 35 minutes, you got 40 minutes, you need to be done by this time, that time. Stay on time. It's bad form to say, oh, I'll go as long as I want. So stay on time. Respect their systems. They've got a system for how long they know the service needs to last. And if they tell you it's open-ended, fine. Like, be open-ended. But if they say, we really need you to be 35 to 40 minutes, then really try to hit that target. It's bad form to go over. That's my 2 cents. Again, my name's Lane. I'm the author of Preaching Killer Sermons and the creator of PreachingDonkey.com. All about helping preachers communicate better. You can check us out on Twitter at PreachingDonkey and on Facebook.com/PreachingDonkey. Don't forget to subscribe right down below and hit that notification bell so that you can receive updates every time we post a video. See you later. Bye.